Welcome back, riders. Today is number 8 for 25 Days of Coasters. As you may or may not know, I am not afraid to admit that I'm a pretty big Coldplay guy. In 2011, Coldplay released a song that perfectly describes this roller coaster. Hurts Like Heaven. Today's coaster is Skyrush at Hersheypark. Skyrush is located at the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania at Hersheypark. Skyrush was Intamin's prototype for a wing coaster and opened in 2012. Only one other wing coaster has opened since then. The stats on Skyrush are pretty impressive. It stands 200 feet tall with a 212-foot drop taken at 85 degrees. After the drop, you hit a max speed of 75 miles per hour. Skyrush only has 3,600 even feet of track. It is on the shorter side, but maybe that's for a good reason, and I'll explain that more. I have been able to ride this 13 times across a day and a half in 2021 and a full day in 2022. Skyrush is known for two main reasons. One is the intensity. This is without a doubt one of the most intense and insane coasters in the world, right up there with fellow 25 Days of Coaster participant Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. The other aspect of this coaster that has been well documented is that the restraints just flat out suck. They hurt pretty badly. The restraints on this ride are the like Achilles heel. I will talk specifically about my experience with the restraints after I talk through the layout. Like I mentioned, Skyrush was a prototype wing coaster. The train has 8 rows of 4. In each row, the 2 inside seats right above the track and like a walking platform that connects the trains. On both sides of those 2 middle seats, there's a single seat that rides above nothing. There is no track or platform below these seats. For the most insane experience, I prefer sitting in the last row on the left wing seat. Any wing seat has more pronounced laterals though. Skyrush starts with one of the best lift hills actually. I have not really gone into depth about any lift hill on 25 Days of Coasters because none of them have anything out of the ordinary to mention. Sure, some have better views than others, but Skyrush's lift hill uses a cable that is capable of some pretty high speeds. And honestly, this one almost feels like a little bit of a launch. You climb to 200 feet in what feels like 5 seconds, and it's something I don't really always think about when thinking about Skyrush, so when I'm riding it, it's always like, oh yeah, this is awesome when you take off for the station for each ride. It's pretty fun. Once it's time for the drop, you are in for one of the world's best. I know I've said that a lot during 25 Days of Coasters, and it's not that I have not meant it when mentioning it about the other coasters, but Skyrush truly has one of the world's best. The profiling is super weird, but in the best way possible. As I already said, Skyrush has a 212-foot drop taken at 85 degrees. That alone would be one of the world's best drops on any coaster. But it's different on Skyrush. It's also hard to explain too. But Skyrush drops twice. The drop on Skyrush has its own drop. The drop has like this kink in the middle of it that seems to take you like even steeper, even though you're like already nearly like straight down the drop. It is so bizarre, but lovely at the same time. It's weird because you're looking at the drop like off ride from the side or whatever, and the profiling looks normal. But when you ride it, it's just so different. There's that kink, but it's awesome. It's just hard to describe. After the drop, you have a small turn to the right, and then you ride up into an airtime hill. This airtime hill is an absolute powerhouse. It is less than half of the total height of the lift hill, and it is just crazy sustained ejector airtime throughout. After this, you have a wide, low to the ground turn to the left, piling on the positive G's. It's just pummeling you. This eventually rises up to another airtime hill that tries to eject you from your seat. It's just insane madness. It's not as sustained as the first hill, but overall I would still consider it sustained airtime. That first hill is just like something else. The exit of the airtime hill has a similar turn to the right by being low to the ground, wide, and it pulls some similar G's to the first turn. This eventually leads to a stangle dive, and this gives some awesome laterals, especially in the aforementioned back left seat. It is absolutely nuts and bonkers, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised more people don't talk about this element or moment in the ride. You then enter another right-hand turn, but the entrance into this one, it gives a little pop of airtime and some more laterals. Again, they are a little more pronounced in the back left seat, hence why I love it back there. The right-hand turn, it just slowly turns into this, like, maybe not slowly is the right word, but it turns into an S-bend airtime hill that gives awesome laterals and airtime. And if you're sitting on the back left seat, you go from like up to down while turning on an airtime hill. It's just bonkers. After this element, you have the last airtime hill. This one's strong, don't get me wrong. It's just not the same as the other ones. Skyrush then limps back to the brake running station, not doing a whole lot more. Let's talk about Skyrush as a whole. Absolutely fantastic, most insane 40 seconds of my life. Now, 40 seconds is on the shorter side. It's not egregious, but it is below average, and that's especially the case when looking at other hypercoasters. However, there are two reasons why I don't necessarily mind that it's a shorter ride. One is the aforementioned intensity. I'm not sure how much more I could take on this ride, honestly. Similar to Fly at Phantasialand, another 25 Days of Coasters participant, this is another coaster where I'm just sitting on the brake run after the ride, feeling like I just got the wind kicked out of me. But while Fly delivers its positive G's in a graceful manner, Skyrush is like just trying to actively eject you from your seat in the most insane way possible, pass you around like a rag doll, you name it. Just it's a lot different than Fly in that regard. The second reason, I also alluded to this earlier, is because of the restraints. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. These restraints suck. However, I don't think they are entirely a lost cause. These restraints, along with the huge size of the seats themselves, it makes you feel extremely exposed and minimally restrained during the ride, like more than any other ride, especially on this top 25. And, through this, it makes the ride even crazier, which can be seen as a good thing. The top half of your body is just, like I said earlier, it's just thrown around like a rag doll because the size of the seat back behind you and, not having over the shoulder restraints, it's just like you have all this room to move. And with the forces of the ride, you move this much. It's bonkers. That said, I do think the restraints are a net negative for the experience. They hurt. The surface area of the contact between you and your restraint is so small. And, as far as I'm concerned, the restraint that you feel on your legs, it's just not cushioned, maybe at all, but definitely not cushioned well. So the extreme forces of the ride are pinpointed on a very small part of your legs. And, when you have these extreme forces on this ride, all that force goes into the contact between you and the restraint. This area is so small. It hurts so bad. One ride is okay. I can handle that. But then after two rides, it's just hurting me. And I have to contemplate so hard, like, yes, this ride is awesome. I love it so much. But can I take another ride? Can my legs do another ride? Honestly, in total 2.5 days at the park, this thing has never had a line. I've could have ridden this 30 times for all I know, but 13 is all I can muster up. And I remember when I was there my first time, I met some new friends that day and they wanted to ride Skyrush again. I'd already done it 4 or 5 times that day, and I was like dreading going on it again. Like it hurt that much. Oh my gosh, but oh. But yeah, like I said, the rewritability is just very low for me on this one, which is a little unfortunate, but this is such a world-class roller coaster. It's bonkers. I love it. At the end of the day, I was kind of thinking about this too. I don't know if the restraints factor into my ranking at all. Like, if Skyrush had the same restraints as Tutatis, like the new gen Intamin restraints that supposedly it might be getting this off season, who knows? But if it had those restraints, I don't know if I would even move up Skyrush in my rankings. Like, you'll see the coaster that comes up tomorrow for 25 days of coasters. If Skyrush had better restraints, I don't know if I would move it above tomorrow's coaster. So, I don't know. Despite the pain the restraints they cause me, I still think extremely highly of this coaster, which is obviously backed up as my number 8 roller coaster. But with that, that's all I've got for today. Who has been on Skyrush? If you have, tell me what you think of the coaster and the restraints in the comments below. Check out Canopy Coaster's review and the description for this video for a deeper analysis with some better footage, more pictures. Yeah, I only had a couple again for this one. At least they were good today and not like Twisted Colossus. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Push down, pull up, exit to the right. Hope you enjoyed the video and go have your greatest day yet. Choo choo, bye.